Hi there, Frontline Church family and friends of Frontline. Today for our Sunday Moravian text reading, as is often the case, we are in the Psalms. Psalm 4. Now there are different types of psalms. All the psalms are songs to the Lord, songs of praise, songs of thanksgiving. But there's a particular type of psalm that is a song of lament. And this psalm, Psalm 4, is one of the songs of lament. It is a song sung from a place of pain, a song sung from a place of crisis, a song sung to God from a place of conflict. And I think that in and of itself is a very powerful idea for us today in these days. In our place of pain, in our place of conflict or crisis, who do we turn to? Who do we articulate how we feel to? Let's bring it to God. Let's express it to him. He can cope with us having a good moan and rant at him. He loves it, and we see it in the Psalms. And David is clearly having some relational issues here. There are people, it would seem, in David's life from this psalm that make him feel ashamed. There are people in David's life that David feels they love delusions. They're deluded. And I mean, we probably all experience people like that. For me, that's a real trigger for me. It really pushes my button when you hear someone say something, you think that is just a delusion. That's absolutely deluded. It's why I tend not to ever respond to comments on Facebook, because it just really triggers me. Instead, we have to learn how to bring it to God and pour it out before the Lord as a song of lament. How does David respond? How does he deal with this? The response is interesting. In verse 4 he says, "In your anger, do not sin." What's interesting about that is that it clearly means that sin, that anger is not sin in and of itself. Just being angry is not sin. Jesus was angry when he turned over the tables. It was a righteous anger. He was able to choose the right response to his anger. And so the question is, when we're in conflict relationally, when perhaps someone's made us feel ashamed or less than, when perhaps we feel people's opinions are delusional, it's deluded, what do we do with that? We have to make a choice. We don't just lash out, we don't just respond out of instinct. We have to choose in our anger not to sin. He goes on to say in verse 4, when you are on your bed, search your hearts and be silent. And I think what's really interesting about that is that reviewing our own heart at night before we sleep is so important. Often when I've been in conflict with people, what I review, what I play out in my head is how wrong they were, and all the things they said and did that were wrong, and how I could have responded better to them and put them in their place and shown them that they were deluded or wrong. And actually David's saying, review your heart, reflect on your own attitude, how you responded, how you felt. It has to start with us. And in those times, I think it is easy to lose our joy. Joy can be quite fleeting, and one of the things that will rob us of joy is conflict, is crisis, relational conflict, as we're seeing it in this psalm. And I think not only is it easy to lose our joy, but it's easy to turn to the wrong things for joy. And it says here, doesn't it, verse 7, "You have filled my heart with greater joy than when their grain and new wine abound." I mean, how many times do we as humans turn to grain and new wine to give us a sense of joy, food and drink? And these things are God's gifts to us. We can enjoy him through them, but they are not the source of our joy. And indeed, if we pursue them for joy, they will leave us feeling a lack of joy and satisfaction. Joy is found in Jesus. He wants to fill our hearts with greater joy than anything else will give us. He says, I will lie down and sleep in peace. For you alone, O Lord, make me dwell in safety. If you are in a time of crisis, if you are in a time of conflict, I pray that you will know the reality of those words in verse 8. The peace of God resting upon you so that you can sleep in peace as you choose to fix your mind on him, to turn to him for joy, to turn to him for comfort, knowing that he alone is all you need to dwell in safety. Have a wonderful day in his presence.